Debbie.
And we're going to talk to you about what it is to become a witch and about the goddesses. Wiccan is a religion. The Wicca way is the understanding and the interacting with deity and the universe. It is a life-affirming path of growth and expansion. It is based on the reverence of nature and her cycles, respect for the earth and of all her creatures. Wicca believes that the deity comes to each person in the way it's best understood by that person. Not everyone will have the same understanding of deity because not everyone is in the same place or able to understand from the same level or perspective. Because of this, no one has the right to judge another person's relationship with deity because each person is different. To be a witch, it is to be at peace with the earth. To be Wiccan, it is to be at one with deity. Wiccans honor nature and all that is in her. We know that there is life in everything, as we must keep everything in harmony and believe in everything as we go into life. This is a spiritual path that you will be taking if you choose to do so. But we always remember, do as you will, but harm none. Many laws have this, but the only law that is with our tradition that we agree on is the law of three. And it's another, in other ways people talk about it. Some people think that the law of three, everything comes back to you 3 times fold. But with the Carillions, we believe it comes back to you many times until you have learned your lesson. And we believe that the earth is sacred and that we all have a responsibility to keep it in surviving and producing. Okay, we know we must do what we must do to keep the earth as sacred as we can. We want everyone to know that there is no evil in what we do and that we believe in our goddess and our God. We are one with deity and we always do good for our community and we never do anything to harm anyone. To be a Wiccan with the Carillion tradition is the very true meaning of our religion, which is Wiccan.
My portion is primarily on the goddess. The one thing that distinguishes Wicca from many other religions is the reverence for the goddess. And this really isn't a very new concept. I'd like to start by giving a bit of a historical look. The notion of the mother goddess was central to many ancient cultures, although the extent of her role has been controversial among historians and anthropologists. And from the 19th century on, there has been a growing consensus among experts that a religion worshiping the Earth Mother or the Great Goddess has preceded all other deity-based systems of belief. At this time, there was a matriarchal type of society, and the societies, as they became more patriarchal, the reverence for the goddess was replaced by the worship of a more masculine god found in the Jewish and the Christian religions. This view of the goddess as mother deity was expressed in a 2nd century novel known as The Golden Ass. This was written by the poet and philosopher, and pardon me if I mangle his name, Lucius Apuleius. In this work, the goddess Isis is seen as all-embracing, all-encompassing. Robert Graves in The White Goddess also suggests that there had been a pre-existing universal moon and earth goddess. However, the accepted view of the expert is there really is no evidence of a predating religion of the goddess. The archaeological and anthropological evidence suggests that the societies began actually with very small local deities, and some were later assimilated into a more bigger and more powerful gods and goddesses. However, this does not mean that the mother goddess did not play a central role in many of the ancient religions. The goddess in the ancient world was immense and powerful deity representing the moon, the earth, fertility, nature, and as well as magic. However, as religion did become more patriarchal, the goddess really didn't disappear. She can be seen in the Christian church as the Virgin Mary. However, it is my belief that there are still some prejudices in favor of the male deity. The goddess is associated with the moon and darkness, which in turn can carry some negative and sometimes sinister connotations, whereas the god was associated with the sun and light and is a positive image. And since those who are practitioners of witchcraft do acknowledge the goddess, it can often be seen as something evil, certainly not attractive, as we see in popular culture, as the witch being relegated to the image of an old hag. These are things we are trying to dispel. And you contrast that with the image of the Virgin Mary, who is a woman who has the image of not being tainted by carnal desires, but yet, at least in the Catholic doctrine, she is said to be called the Mother of God. And it actually is beyond the scope of this class to explain how this shift came from the matriarchal to the patriarchal. But if you're interested in seeing how this happened, there's some excellent books, one by Merlin Stone called When God Was a Woman, and Robert Gray's The White Goddess is excellent sources. Now I want to turn to one of the most sacred pieces of Wiccan literature called the Vangelo da Strega. It is a collection of legends that have been passed down through the generations of the Arabian witches of Italy. The most important part of the Vangelo da Strega is a creation story. The creation story is an allegorical account of how the physical world was created and the descent of spirit into matter. And I'm going to give you a real brief recounting of the story. The goddess existed before all things as chaos with no form, but having within her the seeds of all things, both spiritual and material, but without order or definition. The primeval deity contained both elements of the masculine and the feminine, masculine being matter and the feminine being spirit. She existed in this state for endless eons, even unaware of her own existence. But after a time, she began to stir and become aware of herself. In time, she began to think and dream and to question and to desire. And out of this new awareness, she divided herself into the darkness and the light. The light became the God, which was the beginning of the physical creation, but the spirit remained with her. And after she saw the beauty of the physical world, she wanted to bring it back into herself, because she wanted to experience the physical world. But since she had separated herself between the spiritual and the physical, she was only an observer from the outside, and it was not possible for her to do this. So what she did is she went into her, what we term as the oldest parts of herself, to see if she could be reunited with the God. And the answer she got was, to rise, you must fall, which meant the spirit had to permeate the physical world. Therefore, we as Wiccans see our whole physical world as spiritual, since everything does permeate it. Now I'd like to talk about the concept of the triple goddess, which is how most modern Wiccans view goddess in three different aspects of the maid, mother, and crone. Although we do worship her in worship deity in both masculine and feminine forms, it is primarily through the goddess. The goddess represents nurturing, intuition, creativity, and magic. And in her maiden form, the maiden is a young goddess of new beginnings, the goddess of dawn, youth, and fresh potential. She is the goddess of art, creativity, self-expression, beauty, intelligence, and skill. She is sometimes seen as like the Virgin Athena or Vesta. She can be seen in her other extreme as associated with pleasure and sexuality, like Hathor. Although this may seem as a contradiction, it just reflects the variety of her aspect. She is symbolized by the waxing moon and associated with spring and the direction of east. Some of the individual goddesses throughout different cultures, that is the maiden aspect is found is in Athena, the Greek goddess of Athens, representing mind, intellect, arts and crafts, books and learning. Brigid, which is a Celtic goddess of fire and inspiration. She rules over the arts and the crafts, poetry and medicine. Music is sacred to her and is the goddess of wisdom and learning. And Hathor, the Egyptian goddess of love and beauty. She's a patron of art, music, and dance. She also has aspects of the mother goddess. And then there's Vesta, the Roman goddess of the hearth fire. She is a protector of the home, the people in it, and she's considered to be a dignified maiden and the patron of the home arts of things such as cooking and weaving. In her aspect of the mother is the goddess in her aspect of the sustainer of the universe, the goddess of motherhood and nurturing. The universe is her child, and she loves and cares for it, and she provides it with inexhaustible resources from within herself, and she's infinitely loving and compassionate. She represents creation and recreation and unconditional love. She's symbolized by the full moon and rules over the seasons of summer, and her direction is the south. Some of the individual goddesses in different cultures can be found in Demeter, Greek goddess of the earth and growing things. She created agriculture as a gift to humankind. In Gaia, the Greek goddess of the earth, she became the mother of the Titans, and in Greek myth is considered the primeval mother. Her last aspect, the crone. The crone represents a goddess in her aspect as the elder. She is wise, then the matriarch. She is also the goddess of death, magic, and the spirit realm, the goddess of wisdom, visions and guidance, transformation, and she dissolves outmoded forms, allowing for new growth to occur. She represents the height of feminine power and the wisdom that comes from age, and she is associated with the waning moon. Some of the individual goddesses for the crone are Baba Yaga. This is a Russian goddess, the crone goddess, and she is portrayed as ancient and a wise witch. Hecate, the ancient Greek form of the crone goddess. She is often shown with 3 heads or faces, representing the 3 phases of the moon, which incorporates all 3 aspects of the goddess. However, she is primarily worshipped as the crone goddess. In Morgan or Morgaine, it's an Irish name for the Celtic form of the crone goddess. Her name means the queen of ghosts, emphasizing her role as a goddess of the dead. So in conclusion, basically what I've done is I've shown you a brief history of how the goddesses worship and thought to predate a masculine form of the deity, although not without some controversy. We have shown how the goddess is depicted within Wicca through the triple goddess and through 3 primary aspects of the maid, mother, and crone, and what some of the cultural personifications of her are. And lastly, I would like to say that even though the focus on our particular class has been on the goddess, Wicca is a religion of balance between the masculine and the feminine, and even in our rituals, we say the goddess is not greater than the god, nor the god greater than the goddess, but both are equal. Any questions?
Here we go.
How many goddesses are there?
Oh my goodness. Countless thousands. Yeah.
I've heard of one saying that there are as many gods as there are stars in the sky, or grains of sand on the beach.
Every culture had their own that they worshipped that was particular to their culture. The Egyptians have a whole pantheon of them. Everyone just got their own, and so there's many.
It could be said that there are as many gods and goddesses as there are people that existed, that exist now, and that will ever exist, because each person perceives God differently.
Well, Liz does bring up a good point. It says one of those reasons because we are very individual, and there's as many of the goddesses or gods have a certain aspect that they embody, and not all of them call to everyone. So there may be a particular one which becomes your patron deity or a personal deity. So it's very nice that there are many that we can choose from, whatever speaks to us at that time.
Yay!